Welcome back to the Exchange Place podcast. Hey y'all.
What's
Hello.
We got the hitters in that building.
The heavy hitters.
The heavy
Oh,
hitters.
I like that. You stole that from
hitters.
me. You stole that.
Look,
I think maybe.
yeah, maybe you did.
I stole a lot of stuff.
We got Barry White in the. I mean, we got Ant.
Practice what you preach.
I know.
Oh, wow.
We got Ann Love Lane in the building.
Yes.
We missed
Happy to
you,
be
Ann.
here. Hey, man, I'm around. Y'all know how to find. Y'all know how to get in touch with me.
We
especially-
Always.
love to have the male energy in
I never
here.
sons y'all
I
hit
can't
me.
say
you
I
know,
always
man.
know how to get in touch with you. It was that one time. I was looking for you.
Yeah, you was. It was my birthday week.
It
man.
was your birthday.
Weekend, I mean.
It was.
And we got the juice girl in the building.
So happy to be here. Again.
Again.
And again.
And again.
And again.
And one more time.
Yes. Like,
People love you.
Oh, that's
I keep
pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's not new. You've heard that.
I
You've heard.
know.
Don't act surprised. Like,
no. Listen, it depends on who's telling the
yeah,
story.
you're right.
Okay?
And we're gonna get into that.
Yes,
But go ahead.
absolutely.
But I'm so happy to have you guys back.
Yeah, me too.
And,
Always
like,
good to be here. Always.
Yeah.
Ann hasn't been on a couple episodes, so we
I
needed
think this
to-
is my third.
This is your third one, but we
yeah.
missed you.
Yeah.
We definitely
Did I?
missed you.
I
So we got a male perspective in the building.
Awesome. I always love
I'm
the male
missing my man
perspective.
Q. Give it up for my man Q.
Oh,
He-
Q. Shout out to
He usually
Q.
holds me
love you,
down when I'm,
Q. We love you, Q. Q.
But I got it tonight, Q.
I
I
know.
got
We
it.
gonna
I
hold
got
it
it.
we
down.
appreciate you.
And tonight, what are we talking about tonight? We talking about jealousy?
Cool,
Jealousy
child.
is the topic.
Yeah, we talking about
topic.
jealousy. And I thought it was a good, last podcast was about insecurity and how that affects us. So I thought jealousy was a great
Segue.
it was a
It's-
great
It is.
segue,
Great
into
segue.
that
Great
into
segue.
that. And I think it's something that we don't necessarily talk about.
Mm.
For the most part, like it's not something that we sit down, or I think we don't openly admit that we have jealousy
Right.
issues
Right.
in certain places. It's not something that's necessarily comfortable to share. I know for me.
Yeah.
And I wanted to start there about jealousy being a normal emotion.
It is normal.
It's a normal emotion. It really, really is. We all experience it in one form or fashion. We may not talk about it, and it may be different degrees of jealousy that we experience, but it's a normal thing. So y'all listeners, don't feel like, you're the only person experiencing, jealousy feelings. And I
Absolutely.
think, especially when we talked about insecurities. Insecurity is kind of that bridge way to jealousy, because sometimes when we see ourselves a certain way,
Right.
you know what I mean? That just bridges over to why you feel jealous about somebody else, because you don't feel good about your own self.
Do you feel jealousy is like the action that follows insecurity?
I was just gonna.
could-
It is. That's what I was thinking in my head. That's crazy.
I love
I was just gonna say.
I do.
That's
I
all
do.
it is. It's just the
Yeah.
action of an insecure. The action of
Emotion.
insecurity. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
So
you have to act on jealousy, I believe.
Yes.
So do you think
you
so?
don't have to act on it, but most
Okay.
time, how do you find out a person's jealous? Nobody walks up to you. You can both tell me. Anybody ever in your life come and say, "Hey, I'm jealous of you"?
No, I've never heard anody say I'm jealous, unless it was a joking way.
Oh no. I
Okay.
actually,
This
as a
is-
child, was friends with a young lady, and we had a falling out. And part of her explanation of what that falling out was, because I really didn't understand it, was that she was jealous of me,
Oh, wow.
and I never could really. Again, I couldn't. Beautiful girl.
Give it up to her.
Yeah,
That's-
beautiful
I've
girl.
never heard that.
She must be in
Yeah.
a high place right
I know.
now.
I
To
don't know
be
if she's
young
in a
and
high
admit
place,
that.
but she was, because I really asked her what happened. Like, I adored her as a friend.
Yeah.
And like, it was this craziness, and she kind of started all this mess and,
And it always
drama.
comes from people that are closest to us.
Yeah. And she was like, jealous of me. And I, again, I couldn't understand it. But again, that was probably something in her. And I never thought about that. But until you said that, I'm like, I've had one person ever say that in my life. And I was really young, now that I think about it.
Yeah.
Probably like 13.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I give my take on jealousy, I definitely think I've experienced that emotion before.
Okay.
I don't understand it though, if I'm honest,
Right,
because I
right.
don't function that way. I feel that that's why usually when I find that someone's jealous of me or has done jealous things or acted out their jealousy on me, it usually takes me a little while to process that. Typically because I'm very inclusive. I try to make sure people feel as comfortable with me, and sometimes at my own probably like hurt, like not hurt, Lord, really pretty much like at my own like risk. Like I will try to include you, make you feel welcome, try to do this, try to do
So
that.
you
But it's not,
overextend.
I overextend myself so people always feel like comfortable. And I think a lot of that comes from when I grew up. I was like the only friend who had both of my parents in the house. I grew up pretty exceptional from my parents. So I always wanted people to feel like, hey, I'm regular. I'm normal just like you. Even if I knew it was I always knew something was different about me. I know I'm outspoken, maybe stardom, whatever you want to call it. I always knew that, but I always would probably push myself a little down.
So that's what I was going to ask
Just so
you.
people could feel like they're on
make
my
them
level.
feel
So
comfortable.
typically when people did act out jealousy, I never could understand it because I'm like, why do you feel like that when I've done these things so you can feel like you belong? And typically that I have worked on that because it's always been used against me. And that usually the end of things that I have with people when I end a relationship, a large part of it is jealousy.
So with I guess going back to overextending yourself to people who are or who you know are kind of or uncomfortable about your presence, right? Do you think that's the right thing to do, or is that
It's wrong. I attract
Okay.
people like that though. I had to figure out like what type of people do I attract. So what happens is people who may be insecure, people who may love your light, right? They love it, but they want to possess it. They don't want it to be extended to other people around you. They don't understand that although I make you feel like that, there may be 10 other people that I make feel the same way. And I have the gift and the ability to kind of make everybody feel that way in their own way. But you being threatened by how I make other people feel is you. It's not me. But I've overcompensated in that. And I've also found that, and again, I picked up like probably 2 or 3 years ago that I attract broken people because I have a big spirit and I'm just like always wanting people to feel good and hey, I hope
Arms are
you,
wide open.
my arms are wide open. I embrace people, but sometimes that has worked against my detriment. So like my friend Dia says, I've learned to curb my enthusiasm with those type of people. But yeah, it does not serve to do that to people because you're almost enabling the way that they feel instead of encouraging them through their feelings to kind of really, you can still esteem people, but esteem them in a way that's like, listen, you have to work through those feelings. You're validating those feelings. That doesn't mean it's real. Just because you feel something doesn't mean it's true or real.
So I think all feelings are valid, and in the sense of
You know how I feel.
Yeah, but I will say that all feelings are valid, whether you may feel the same way or not.
Right.
You have to take an account for the other person and their experience because they could be feeling that because of let's go to abandonment, right?
Yeah, that's a good
I've
one.
100% had friends because I'm 100% of always going to attract broken people because I have a healing spirit, right? I have the spirit that people want to kind of come, I say, come lay on my couch and kind of spill their guts. But that's part of.
I'm one of them.
It's fine,
And
but
you
that's
probably
my
actually
gift.
search for those people.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's part of my purpose. That is part of even me going back to school to be a therapist. You know what I mean? That's something that I understand. But in that same thing, I've dealt with people, and I'll use abandonment for lack of example here today, is like somebody who's had people abandon them in certain places. I may give this particular friend a certain amount of attention in this place because I know where they are, right? I know what they need. And in this place, I know that the exchange for me at that particular point is to pour out to them, right? And give them more. But once I see that they're at a certain level, not that I pull back, but I know that you're okay. It's just like a child. It's like, okay, you've healed in those areas. Let me start to let you go. But what I found is somebody who may have abandonment issues may look at it like, wait a minute, where is my person that's I'm normally able to call every moment, that's normally here every moment. And so I think jealousy can look like that, even like that person they'll be like, well, why are you not giving me that no more? And it seems like you're giving that to somebody else. You know what I'm saying? So I think I'll go back to, I think all feelings are valid depending on who you're speaking and through which lens they look.
Right.
Because I can't talk about, I don't have abandonment issues in that area. So I don't know what it feels like, right? To have those things that they're probably still necessarily working through, you know what I mean? And looking at me through those lenses where I'm like, no, it's not that. I love you the same way. I'm still here for you. You still have access to me, but it may look different in the season of life. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead, Aunt.
It's real quick. I was just gonna say, but and then actually, I can like the apple falling from the tree. It trickles to who you're giving that love to now. Are they also jealous of that person too, not just you? You know what I mean? Look, you sent your love this way when I was getting that, and now, you think I'm okay, but I'm not okay because I don't like. I knew you longer than her.
Yeah. Well, I think
they don't know that you're moving in that light.
So I think when people understand you, and not that everybody will, and not that everybody will understand your purpose, kind of how you move, or even why you move. You know what I mean? But I think that in that case, they may be jealous of them, but I think for me, it's my job, depending on who that person is. You said this the last time, depending on who that person is, how I love that person and who they meet, again, we always go back to relational intelligence, right? Is this somebody who I value in a way that I want to make sure you're comforted, but not comforted at the expense of the other person or even me? Like how Amber just said, she was overextending herself so much that she's almost putting herself in danger to appease someone else. That should never happen.
And that has been my greatest lesson. I always compare a lot of, well, not now because I have done a lot of due diligence and allocation when it comes to people, and compartmentalizing people.
Relational intelligence.
Yeah, because I do have a spirit that people literally walk up to me and tell me anything. Like I don't know why. I am a house of secrets. I know a lot of deep things about a lot of people because I give them that, and it is safe with me. You know what I'm saying? So I give people that, and they want to, and they feel connected to me maybe in a deeper way than I feel that I'm connected to them. But I still respect the space and honor what it is that they told me. I found that, I don't know if you guys ever seen the movie Bridesmaids.
Yes.
I had friendships like Annie and the girl, Ellen. I've had those type of friendships for years. It's kind of like, I'm the best friend. No, I'm the best friend. No, I'm the best friend. You know how I solved that? I don't use the word best friend anymore.
Gotcha.
I don't. And it's not because I don't value each of my relationships. I value them in different ways, but I don't believe in best friends because that kind of puts people against each other in a competition that I don't have nothing to do with. So let's dismantle that. I don't care how close we are. I see Deb. I talk to Deb every single day. However, I have friends that I talk to once every 6 months, and I value them the same way. So I don't use the term best friend. I don't use all of those different types of things, which is nothing wrong with people doing that. For me, what I had to do some type of damage control, it helps me to navigate those friendships, and nobody's kind of looking like, well, I'm better. Because there may be, I'm a seasonal person. There are some people that I need to talk to every day in this season. There are other people that I can do without talking to in every season, because what you're talking about may disrupt me from where I am right now.
Yeah. So I think what you said, two things, is the people that you have around me. I think it also, not the best friend thing, but that the health level of people.
Yes.
Right? Because if people are in a healthy or a healthier state, right? Because we're always progressing, we're always healing, we're always going, and hopefully getting better, right? So yeah, we should be, at least that's not necessarily an issue for most people. Like, I never think about, am I such and such best friend? Like,
I don't care.
That's like a little kid thing for me.
I'm like, hey to your friend, hey girl.
And that's what I was getting at. Like, are we catering to insecurities?
Yes, I have.
But that's
that's
the health. That's what I mean. Like, it depends on the health of
abandonment.
People.
That's the only part where you say, where I said, okay, I can understand it. But anything outside of that, I don't.
You're a
man, though.
But I think
I think men are different.
I think men are different. I don't think that you guys, because remember, again, I may be speaking out of turn, so you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think men have that level of emotion that women carry when it's like bestie friends. Like, I feel like guys are just like,
and a Tetsi?
Yeah, like I don't think guys have that.
I don't think so either, but they are individual circumstances with everybody. Like, I got some friends right now. I'm a little bit out of there, what they got going on. But basically, one of the friends went to a party and didn't invite the other friend. and they were, they are best friends.
Close, yeah.
And now they're not even like how friends were y'all that we don't even talk now because
Wow.
you felt like you didn't invite me here basically because somebody else was going to be there and you don't. It's a whole mess. But honestly, no offense, it seems female. It seems that type of like
but no,
men
it's,
don't.
it's just it's an insecure. It's exactly what you said. I don't think it's female.
A 20-year friendship.
But it's probably more issues than that. That probably was
right? That's what
let me tell you something. I can speak from experience that somebody may look at something that I like. It will be the last straw for me. Like you was already on your last turn with me, and you did something that could be small. You knocked over my cake.
Right.
And I'm done with you because it's not about the cake you knocked over, but that's just like my last straw. So typically when things like that happen, especially a disconnection of a friendship, again, I'm a Rolodex person. Mm-hmm. I'll be following those reports. Yeah. No. I file things in my mind. I don't, because honestly, sometimes I let people have it. Because I don't have the energy to address every single thing you do. Yeah. That just takes too much energy. When it becomes habitual. Then. Correct. But when it becomes a problem, I will say something to you. I think, again, my issues that I've had in the past have been, I used to kind of tell people what they were going to feel. Kind of like, I ain't saying nothing to them. You know why? Because they ain't going to acknowledge that anyway. Like, how can you, and typically a lot of it be jealousy. Like, so I can't come up to you and be like, yo, like, I don't like, and one thing I have done though, like, I don't allow people to abuse people in my circle. You can't do that. I don't play jealousy games. I don't play envy games. You're not going to talk about my friends to me.
I was going to say, not my friends.
Yeah, you're not going to talk about my friends to me. We're not doing any of that. A lot of people do that
only because they know that you two still have a relationship. So I'm going to feed your ear. I'm going to feed your ear.
Right. But people have done that to me. In
either you say something or at least you know how I feel.
Yeah, I've had that done to me where it's just like you've made a comment about somebody that I'm really close to and that ain't sit right with me. Like, I don't like that.
If it ever comes out, guess who looks you?
The person, I look bad, crazy. Like, but I believe that emotion of what you said about the person came from jealousy because you kind of used to be that friend or that close, that level of closeness to me, and then it changed. It kind of went from you to that next person, but not understanding your season. And again, my friends from my lifespan can tell you. I got friends from everywhere. I got friends still from church, from when I worked at my first job when I was 16. I still have long-term relationships. Not like people that not that, right. I do have good relationships with people. It doesn't mean that they're necessarily close all the time. One of my best friends from high school, I have not spoken to her in like 2-3 years. And it was no reason being besides life. She got married. She has 4 children. She just reached out to me because she wasn't on social media for a while. And she found me like, hey, I'm coming back from Puerto Rico. As soon as I get back, I want to see you. And there was nothing, love lost, not a piece of love. Who cares? I don't care who been your friend for the past 3 years. I love you. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I think
everybody doesn't have that though. I think we have to be aware of that. I'm also I love relationships, right? So I'll meet somebody on a whim and you'll be like, you still talk to them? I'm like, yeah.
Because they think it was nothing. Like,
they think it's nothing. And we had a connection. And it's like, yo, I might not talk to you, but I'll check in and be like, you good? I'm thinking about you. How's your heart?
There you go, on the elevator.
Literally. But I have those people. I really do. But I think that because people might not understand that, and because they don't do relationships like that, right? Some people only have maybe their family or maybe these 2 people that they interact with like that. So I think I'm always taking an account of that because they don't understand how I function because they're like, well, how are you still talking to this person that you may have known when you were a child?
I don't like when people do that. That makes me super uncomfortable. I've had that happen to me where I had a friend judge the level of relationship or the respect that I should have from protecting someone because they felt that ain't my friend like that. Who are you to measure that? That's jealousy.
It is jealous.
Tendencies to me.
It is.
Jealousy is like the most scariest thing.
It's so scary, and it comes from people so close to you.
All of these you don't deal with, but a thief, I know what you are.
Yes.
A liar, I know what you are.
Right.
Jealousy, there is no limit to what you will do.
Right.
Wow.
Because you are jealous. So if a jealous person will lie on your name, a jealous person will steal from you.
Yeah.
A jealous person will, in some instances, kill you. It just
kill you.
Depending on how
sleep with your mate.
There is
interact
no limits
with
to
your
jealousy.
enemies. Weird stuff.
So do you think it's a difference when, because we're kind of talking more platonic relationships. How about jealousy within relationships?
I've been jealous in a relationship.
Oh, I think I never thought
and it stemmed from insecurity.
I was about to say at a point, if you would have asked me if I was jealous, I would have said absolutely not. Right?
I was going to say, how does that go? Because I don't.
So
you ain't never been jealous.
Not of my mate. Not of my mate.
No, not of your mate. With
like with another man.
Have I been jealous of her
husband, her work bag. You might have been
I
know. Yeah. That happens too, though, being jealous of a partner.
Yeah. I've been in both. I've definitely been the person, again, we talked about insecurity and being on the end of being cheated on numerous times. Yeah, that does breed, that breeds the action of, being jealous, because now I'm trying to figure out in my head the emotions that's attached to that. Is like, so if a person fits the bill of what and where you've cheated before, I'm 100%. I'm watching. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I have been there.
That's almost unfair, though. Yeah, you're thrown into the river to be jealous.
Yeah, but it's still not. I think what we need to, I guess, articulate more to the listeners is those relationships. It's still, I decided to stay, right? Yeah. So in that, even though he wronged, me in that area, it's still my responsibility to stay there. And it's my responsibility not to drive myself crazy in my head about what you possibly could do. Yes. And also project that onto him, because it's like now at this point it's my issue, because I had the out.
Driving yourself crazy.
I didn't take the out, so now I'm literally driving myself crazy. Of, again, the why and the who and does this person fit the bill? So anything, it absolutely bred
I think
jealousy.
That goes back to a conversation that we had when we discussed insecurity. When two people decide to continue a relationship after there's been infidelity or mistrust or something like that, and the person isn't actively doing things to make you feel safe in that, because I've experienced that. Yeah. I had a really very uncomfortable situation happen with me before. Like the person was like doing me dirty right under my nose, and I interacted with the person all the time. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? And so now, that person might be removed from the situation. They're not around. But then when I see you act out those same traits with people around me again, it's triggering. And if I bring it to your attention and I'm like, listen, I don't like that. That makes me uncomfortable. And you're like, oh, get over it. Because again, people like to rush you to forgiveness. Yeah. That's where those jealousy traits and tendencies tend to come out. I like to be very vocal now about what makes me uncomfortable. And I feel like that's how you work through envy and jealousy, right?
It really is.
It is. Like, I feel like if something makes you uncomfortable, speak on it. And it doesn't have to be in an aggressive manner, but hey, listen, that coworker that kind of talks to you after hours, I don't really like that.
I don't like that.
That makes me uncomfortable. That makes me uncomfortable, not because I don't think you may not have a relationship there, but I just ask that, once work is over, kind of keep that there, because I can't gauge that, and it makes me uncomfortable. So that's kind of like some people can tell you that they're jealous or they're envious in ways that, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm open to it.
But nobody's going to come out openly say, hey, I'm jealous. But it's okay to be open about what you're feeling, to navigate that. Because that's why I said jealousy is more so to me an action. Because it's like you can feel, it's a feeling in an action, because I can feel the envy because envy and jealousy kind of on the same lines,
They
right?
are.
So like when you could feel that, right? But jealousy now is, I'm coming up to your job. I told you don't call her. I'm gonna make a scene because I'm telling you, and I'm gonna say little snarky remarks, things that make you uncomfortable to bring you down to the level that I feel now. Because you still texting that ugly girl at your job, like there go your little friend. Like you get what I'm saying? Like that's passive
aggressive. You tonight taking my stuff. You know what I'm saying? I was just about to say.
Like there go your little, because guys be doing that too. Oh, there go your boy.
Yeah.
That's people kind of like saying that makes me uncomfortable.
Because they weren't grown enough to have that conversation that you just did.
Exactly.
We don't do
but
that.
I got better at that because I had a level of petty in me to an extent where I used to be like, here go your little friend. Oh boy, look at you beasting them comments. You beasting. You couldn't wait till they said that, huh? Like, but that's insecurity playing out. It's jealousy
or
playing
they're
out.
just not like that person for no reason.
Exactly.
Like, you know what I mean? Sometimes you won't bring it to your man, but you all of a sudden just because something that you should have said to your man, you should have been talking about.
Right. You
all of a sudden
projected.
you just I don't like every time she come around. Hey, how you doing? Like,
right.
whoa, that woman didn't. You know what I mean? Don't.
Yeah.
So do you think that's, I guess my question is, do you think that is always jealousy or is it trust issues? Because
Yeah, it's both.
you think it's both?
Yeah, because it's
both.
like you're
Trust
starting to
okay.
measure yourself up. Because I'm speaking from experience. I blocked chicks that I thought that somebody
Fit
I
the
dealt
bill.
with like. Yes.
Fit the
What you
bill.
what you want to know? What you watching me for? That's like, but I'm looking at you
Yeah.
like, there was a time that I wasn't this wise.
Yeah,
There was a time I used to
like-
be the block queen.
Yes.
I will block you if you disturb my spirit. If I get that little eruption in my body, you're getting blocked. So even like looking at that, because sometimes I will block people just to control my own emotions, right? Because if I
Wow.
look at you and I don't want to feel like every time I see you, I'm putting myself up against you. And you may not have done anything to me, but that's still me navigating that. You know what I'm saying? And it does come from mistrust, but that's still acting on your jealousy because you haven't managed how it is you feel. And guess what? Sometimes you tell that person who's making you feel uncomfortable with it and they discard your feelings. They discredit your feelings, or they make you feel like you're crazy,
yeah.
or
Yeah.
whatever that thing is.
So I think sometimes what happens, and again, I can only talk from the I've only dated males, so the dating the male perspective. But I think sometimes men can play on that in the sense of if they know something makes you feel uncomfortable, they kind of play around with that because it's like, and then you end up not liking somebody who's never done anything to you, but and they don't manage that well, you know what I mean? And I've definitely dated somebody who didn't manage those things and didn't put up boundaries for the other person. Like, hey, you're in a relationship with me, so you making them feel comfortable is not, you know what I'm saying? That's not priority. Like, but kind of played that kind of game of things that made, and again, in an insecure place where I was back then, definitely where I was like,
keeping
you know
pictures, just doing like weird stuff.
Yeah, I just weird, you know what I mean? Weird interactions.
Look at Ann, like I got something to say about y'all.
No.
Go ahead.
It's because you now you put it on like men play with that, so I have to rebuttal for that.
No. I want to hear. We want to hear. I'm
It's
not a man.
really. It's just like you both have an occupation where you do it with a lot of men on a daily basis, right? Like you have, you have your business. You know,
Absolutely.
there's no. If your significant other said, "Hey, man, I don't," and you're just telling him, "Hey, it's just business," which it is. It's just business. Now, do we fall back or do we disregard discredit his feelings?
So I can
the
only
same
speak
way?
for myself.
Of course,
I'm very careful, especially when I'm in relationship, of how I steward relationship and how I interact with men. I think
What changes though? Like
everything.
depending on that male.
It depends
that you're
on,
dealing with,
but
or-
I think everything in general. Not that I act all willy nilly to begin with, right?
Right,
But
right.
it's not like I'm out here wilding
I
out
know,
or
that's why I'm
whatever.
always in trouble.
We can't talk about him, right?
I always
But
act
I'm very careful with that. I'm even very careful with if I know a man has a significant other who's married.
I'm very careful.
I'm super careful with that because I never want to make anybody feel uncomfortable. I had one of I call him my brother because I have 10,000 of them, as I always talk about on this. But one of my brothers, we had a funny conversation when he got married, and I'll just quick story. When he got married, he was like, "Yeah, Deb, listen, I knew his wife now, right? But he was like, now little Deb with the little puffs." Now you this grown woman walking in, and I'm kind of trying to explain how we grew up, and it's my little, and he looking like that ain't no little girl or whatever. And, but it's a grown woman, you know what I mean? And he was like, "You're a beautiful woman, so me to present you, I need to work that in." This is years ago, and initially I didn't take that, but I always take that into account now because I'm like, I knew him since I was a little kid, but now what she's seeing is not a little kid. Also, I have to take into account whatever's gone on in their relationship, right?
Yeah, you ever seen that meme when they be like, people be arguing over you in their relationship and you don't even know.
And
you're like, how y'all know?
So it's like, again, what they've endured in their relationship or whatever, infidelity or whatever has gone on in their relationship. And now you bring in this new girl who's this, oh, this is my friend from back in the day. And she looking like, she don't look like.
And y'all are so, hey, what's that?
And here I am. Hey. And she looking like, hey, hi.
I like that you said that. I'm very careful with that. I actually have a great example of that. Last year, actually, when I did the Black Food and Expo, Food and Dessert Expo in Philly, I had a friend. He's been my friend since high school. He's now engaged, has a child. I had never officially met his fiance. We interact on Facebook and the gram all the time. And I remember when the two of them walked in, he was like, "Hey, Am," to give me a hug. I said, "Ah." I put my hand up.
Yes.
I looked at his lady. I said, "Hi, how are you?" I said, "I'm a hugger. Is it okay if I hug you?" She said, "Yes, or whatever. Nice to meet you. I heard great things about you." I said, "Boy, don't be hugging me first. I need to ask her permission." Remember when I met Tamara? With Keo, I said, "Tamara, is it okay that I me to shake your husband's hand?" I don't because it's so because guess what? I'd rather do that. Yeah. I'm very respectful because number one, I have I know it sounds crazy, but I have my body yachty girl. I got this big personality. People misread my energy all the time. Like even with male customers, and I'm like, I just want your money. Nice. I want your money. I want your time. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So that I could give off that, even though I ain't even looking at you in that manner. Right. I don't know what other people have been through. So to gauge that, I just do that because I rather the laugh about it instantly than I don't like that she didn't even look at me. Why she ain't say nothing to me? Oh, y'all must have I just consider people you get what I'm saying? I had never, my first encounter was meeting Tamara at my pop-up shop event. I had never met her or her husband. I've heard great things about her, but I just don't have the gall to go up to someone's husband first before I ever met them and just do that. And again, it's that comes from my catering to people.
But I think it's respect.
Still,
it's respect. And it's also being on the other end of that.
Correct.
Right? So what Aunt asked is a very valid thing. I'm very, if someone that I'm dating has a problem with, and I've had this happen tons of times. I grew up tomboy. I had probably most of my life way more male friends than girlfriends. And people would be like, "Oh, I'm not as comfortable." So I know how to navigate that. I never want whoever I'm with to feel uncomfortable about what I'm doing. But you also have to handle your own insecurities if there's been no reason for you to feel that way.
And people play games like that too, Lo. So let's just use you as an example. Like you're the girl who has all of these male friends, and some of these guys be having girls and whatever. And sometimes women, I don't want to use a gender because I've seen men do it too. Sometimes what people do is all of a sudden they act overly friendly with you, overly not familiar with you because obviously you have a friendship, but it's like, "Oh no, I'm the bestie." Oh, hey girl, just putting on and doing too much just to cause disruption. So that builds jealousy too because now I'm walking into a situation. Like one thing about me, a big thing when it comes to dating, relationships that people have with their child's mom, right? I love people to get along. I love for
Absolutely.
people to have a friendship. However, there are lines that I don't like. I don't
Oh,
play
yeah,
those
it's
games.
boundaries.
I don't.
It's
And
boundaries
I
to all
believe
of
there
that.
should be boundaries at any point that I feel like I'm like in a competition thing, or I feel like the one. I don't play those games. Like, you get what I'm saying? And people do stuff like that all the time, and those are where jealous feelings and things like that
We have that's a whole nother show,
Yeah.
especially as it relates to, I think, baby mothers and baby fathers, and people are always like, that's a thing, like, oh, well, how your baby mother be or whatever. I also think it's a boundary of what you share in those relationships, so that, like, if you have that relationship under control, I should not I should have nothing.
I don't even play them games.
To do with that. So I think that's again, something that people play with, and people are not clear with boundaries. People are in healthy places sometimes when you meet them, and it's like,
and they feel like if I give myself even an uncomfortable. That's why I'm very careful of managing those relationships with my children's dads consistently. I don't care if I got somebody or I don't. Don't call me. don't do certain things that I know that even once I have a relationship may be confusing. And I feel like you have to practice healthy stuff prior to actually getting with somebody, because then once you get with somebody now, because you've been, I give her money sometimes, and sometimes I stay the night with the kids, and every Christmas I spend the night with the kids. Now you in a relationship and people looking at you. I know me. I'm like, listen, I don't play that army dad stuff where you gonna be like acting like, I'm calling in and I'm checking in on my other family.
Yeah.
What?
I think, and I know we're going. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, at what point do are we reeling back the being a father, or we'll go with the father because most of the time they're the single mothers. But like you said, don't be calling, checking in with your. Well, what if I want to? Are we saying don't call your son or don't call your daughter?
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Even
on
the daily, I want to get it like.
No. So to add to that point, no. So to clarify that, what I mean is, like, you're trying to manage a household that you decided to not be a part of. So if it's day to day, you could talk to your children.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? Especially if they're of a certain age. Like, you could directly speak to your children, but calling in like, what y'all doing? I'm coming over.
So it depends on the conversation.
Yeah, it's the level of conversation. Like, yes, you could, of course, you should have access to your children every single day if you want to contact them. However, be very clear with that, because one thing I know as a woman, if a woman got somebody that she is in love with and ain't playing about, she ain't answering your calls. She don't care. I can tell you from experience.
Gotcha.
Don't call this phone.
Gotcha.
But when they're maybe not in a good place or they don't have nobody, they're probably open to your in and outness. And then you got now that you got somebody and you ain't calling in and checking like that, now it's beef and it's strife. That's why I'm saying you have to be very consistent in your relationships and manage healthy healthy interaction, whether you're with somebody or you're not, because jealousy builds in there, and that's when you have these situations where baby mothers hate the girlfriends, baby daddies hate the father, all of these different things, because you have failed to create boundaries and clarity.
Clarity. I agree.
Okay, thank you.
And I've dealt with that. I was with somebody who was jealous. I honestly kind of go through that almost in every relationship.
So do you think
that's rough
when you say you go
because I have a big personality,
when you go through, I guess, jealousy in every relationship, where do you think that stemmed from? Because
the people I attract.
But I was about to say, because after one or two, after one or two, you got to look within. Right?
Yeah,
so
and
it's like if you're experiencing, which I've been in a competitive relationship with.
Oh God, that too.
Yeah, where it was jealousy of like where I was, which I really didn't notice until later. I was like, are we competing? Like, you get this, if I get this, you got to get this.
Yeah, I had that too.
It was just very uncomfortable. But I've only experienced that one time, at least that I know, like where I was like, I feel like we in competition, or like what's
that goes back. So
what's going on? But
that goes back to my inclusiveness, though. Like, I try to make, even in dating, and that's why now, like, even when it comes for me for dating, I have to date people on my level or doing better than me. And that's no disrespect to whatever people do or whatever, but they have to have a sense of understanding of me as a person, where I am in my life, because I have a tendency to pull people in with me. I used to do that. Now I don't. Like, I kind of am okay with saying, like, I love you. Maybe once you reach a certain like level
So
of
when you say,
confidence or
I was about to
whatever
say
it is,
level of healthiness,
like healthiness, confidence, whatever those traits are, I kind of feel like I have to be with someone who is very confident, someone who is okay with my big personality. Like, you get what I'm saying?
So do you think that they feel like they get lost in your
because
presence?
it's like you love what you're attracted to initially, right?
Okay.
Oh, this person makes me feel good. They're awesome. They're this, but you forget that what attracted you attracts other people. Like, right? Like Ant said something like, "Oh, Amber, everybody loves Amber," right? He said that in like earlier in the convo, right? People forget that because they're only focused on the love that you give them. And then once you start allocating that love out to other people, they want to possess it and they don't want to share it. That's why I said somebody on my level who understands, who is confident, number one.
Okay.
They can't be like, oh, well, I don't like when you talk to this person and that. I'm a business person. I go to people's business to support them. I build relationships. I'm a relationship person. So you can't be with me and you have a problem with how I interact with someone.
Do people normally have a problem of how you interact with people?
Friends.
I guess I'm talking more.
And relationships.
I'm talking about relationships.
Yeah, like, and don't get me wrong, I've had to learn too how to kind of be a little different, because I know I have a bit tone it down, even with my friendliness, unfortunately. Yes.
Okay.
Because I can send the wrong message, even though that's not what I'm trying to do. I try to, like, especially when it comes to dealing with men in business and stuff like that, I'm just like a little more straight to the point, because I don't want to give off the wrong energy. Okay. I find myself like even dating other people, trying to like put them in the forefront, so that way you kind of know somebody's here to like chill. Like, you get what I'm saying? But because I kind of attract people like that who feel uncomfortable with me. And I had to learn to stop choosing those people back.
I was about to say, what makes you choose them at that point?
Because of my inclusiveness, but I had to learn that everybody can't go. Everybody can't be access to me like that. Everybody can't just live in my world as much as I want. If you're a so happy person, what do I want you to do? I want you to be happy. So come over to happiness, right? Okay. But you're injuring me and me trying to make you feel included, right? So I had to learn that I need people who are happy already. So that way, once you are already happy, we just, hey, happy land. Happy land meets happy land. Not happy land meets depressed land, because now you're just trying to, because you're going to start pulling my energy away.
Yeah.
Right. And probably still won't end up happy.
Exactly. It doesn't matter how many tricks
because they didn't come happy.
Exactly. Yeah. So I'm learning to choose healthier people. I'm learning to choose healthier people who are highly esteemed.
But everybody should, when you go into a relationship, dating, everybody should think like that. I love that you think like that. And then I get women
it took me time though.
But think about the men. Let's be real. We go out to the club, wherever you meet a woman at, you're just looking at it. But you're not even dating this person. In your mind, you're already thinking physical. You're thinking, so by the time you do, I'm not
laughing. I got a story. Go ahead.
By the time you do and you find out, this bubby, this girl's about her business, boom, boom, you're intimidated. Let's be real.
That happens to me all get intimidated. The time.
And then not only that, we're jealous of you. We're jealous of everybody you're around. And then it's just like, everything, you're to blame for everything.
Can we speak to intimidation, please?
I was about to say, can we talk about that? Because I just have a question about that intimidation. My brother told me something a long time ago, and I watched this play out, and it keeps on, I don't want to say it keeps on getting worse, but he's just like, listen, where you are, and this is years ago, like, it's going to be hard for you to date.
Right.
And
my brother just said that to me.
Yeah, I was like, what do you mean? He's like, just men looking at you and what they feel like, I guess you have and what you require. Like, it's going to be super hard for you to date. And I was like, really? Like, I'm nice and cool and like, not accepting of bull stuff. But like, at the same time, I'm just like, I always tell Amber, and this is probably not a good thing to say, but I always be like, I don't really require a whole lot. Like, I'm a very
all.
I'm a very simple person. Like, what makes me happy honestly is very simple things. Even like this weekend, like I could go for a walk, I can enjoy water and just like simple things. Like I'm not.
But you know what's simple to you
that,
may not be simple to someone else.
I guess, but I don't understand the intimidation portion of that
because it makes intimidation.
You're forcing a male to boss up. You're forcing a male. They're coming from these damaged backgrounds. They haven't grown up yet, and then let's be real. We got the biggest egos in the world, so I don't care how you look. And I know you're you're up here to us, so the intimidation doesn't scare us off.
Okay,
we still want the challenge. But once you put
that's why they be DMing 130 times.
DM Beyonce, man. Come on, it is what it is. A man gonna holler. He gonna talk. He don't care how. He can be in sweats, man. You got Sunday's best on. Hey, miss, how you doing? He doesn't care about the talking to.
Okay.
It's the part where he finds out, oh, did you do this? Oh, you this? Oh, so what do you do? Yeah, I do. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, you still might like him. All right, let's go out here. Let's go. And now it's like, yo, man, I can't keep up with her.
Yeah,
and now
what does that mean when you say I can't keep up? Because again,
he's in a place in his life where he hasn't set, like you said, this happened years ago when your brother told you
My brother told me that.
So look how long
ago.
you've been on your journey, building, elevating. This man probably.
So should I not tell him like, okay,
no,
what
you
you
tell
do?
him everything, and you expect the most, and you just have to
filter him out.
You filter him out.
Because I'm just like,
never.
I always feel like I'm not too much for the right person.
With with all his baggage, guess what he's gonna keep? He's gonna bring more back. He's just gonna keep lowering his bags. So anything got room, I'm putting it in there.
So it's more maturity, is what you're saying.
And that's men have to grow up. I'm a male, and I'm not down talk, but we got to get to a certain level. Women are bossing up every day. They're getting to this level, and you're supposed to hold people to a certain standard.
Yeah.
Because guess what? It's your fault if you don't. And then he comes in and you find out he's a dirtbag, but guess what? Now y'all don't have a kid. You got this man for life.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm learning to address those type of things very early on because people tend to, because they feel that, again, back to social media makes people feel whatever they feel. And don't get it twisted. I don't fake on social media. I am what you see is what you get. But people start comparing, and then that's where we go back to jealousy. You start comparing and you start measuring up or whatever, right? So oh my Lord, I go through that so much where people looking at my page, they like, oh, well, you got this business. I've had men tell me they don't know where they fit into my life. I'm like, what? I'm like the coolest, let's go drink liquor and slushies girl from 7-Eleven.
Get her some ice cream. She likes sweets.
I like slushies. Oh, just take me to get cake.
Do these men, are these men that are these hardworking? Do they have something going on?
Yes.
No, sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes they really do.
They have, so I don't project that I need a millionaire or whatever, because I am very self-efficient. I love that about myself. I always tell people I need partnership. Mm-hmm. You have to come in and bring something. And I always make sure, I've said this on a few shows, I always make people know that there's something that's monetarily valuable and just non-monetarily valuable. Okay. So taking out my trash and giving me $50 sometimes when I need it. But there's balance. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. So you'll never feel invaluable. Like, you get what I'm saying? I don't just make everything about money. Why? Because I'm getting my own. But I do need you maybe over here, but you're so busy thinking about the money side or how you need to look for me. And I don't emphasize that. I emphasize everything as a whole.
So, I think you have to take in consideration, this is something I always tell you, and I'm going to just tell you again, that person hasn't dated you. You have to be respectful that there are some men, and I have met a ton of them, I don't know if Ian is one of them, but who like big bangs. Like, they are so focused on, and part of that is not a bad thing.
Give me some ice cream.
They wanna really give you what you deserve. Yeah. Right? So it's like, don't take away from that. Mm-hmm. Just them to be able to understand, I don't need the big bang all the time. We could go for a walk in the park and I'll be okay.
Society has done that to us.
Yeah. And I think I've dated a lot.
But I can't keep communicating that though. Yeah. Like I tell people that too much. Like it start getting draining
until you find
that's
the thing. Like,
I always say you're never
pull something out of somebody. Yes. What they say you can't get something from a turnip. I can't remember.
You can't extract more than people than what they're willing to give.
You shouldn't have to force it.
And you're never too much for the right person. No. That's just it.
I don't think you're too much. I just think that people don't. You are not too much. You are not too much. That is not what it is.
On the flip side, though, like you said, so I was asking you about the do these people do they have something going on? So the guy that doesn't have anything going on, of course, he's like, yo, you're not giving me enough time.
But here, right. But you know what's so funny? I've met people. I'm sorry, I don't want to end your thought.
No, it's just one more point. And the guy that does have something going on, he's looking at you like, well, look, I ain't never had nobody that didn't have no time. You know, men have the biggest egos in the world. Like,
yes, they do.
Yo.
Yeah,
hey, can we do this? Can we do this? Yo, and you telling me, oh, I got this, I got that.
Like, he's
like, well, shoot, I'm busy. How you telling me? He's not used to people telling him no.
Yeah.
He's like, you know what, man? And now he go find whoever else he thinks is, you know.
Correct.
So it's a thin line. When a guy is successful and he's doing something, he calls his own shots. It's messed up. But and that's why I tell women, call your own shots.
Yeah.
Call your own shots.
And I've definitely dealt with that. I feel that I've met people who are like, you're used to being the man until you found this type of woman. Exactly. Because it's like you could just, I always tell.
But don't stop being that person. Be you.
I don't. I do
Right.
not. You either gonna rise up to the occasion. I always tell people, date in your caliber. So like, for instance, if you know people are popular and that's gonna bother you somewhere down the line, like, you know, you can't handle that. Think about the star football player, right? If you know you got a problem and you ain't that secure, don't date the star football player. Date somebody more modest. Date somebody who's like me, for instance. It can't be two of me. I know that. I know it's too much. Like, you get what I'm saying? Right. But I like a more laid back guy, somebody who's gentle towards me, but a firm person who can make their own decisions as well. So I know I'm not going to go for the super duper popular guy. You know what I'm saying? Right, it's not because but it's just, it's hard to function sometimes in two worlds like that. I'm okay with it. I have done it before. I was about to say, but it's funny, they were doing better than me and they started hating on me.
But
because they probably still wanted you here.
Absolutely.
Do you think if you met somebody that was equally functioning in that way that you guys can function?
I would love him. Where are you? Is it Idris Elba?
It's not Idris Elba.
He's married.
He's married. We're sorry. He's 100% married.
Sorry, Aunt.
Can we get focused?
You're right. Jealousy. So
I guess my question for Aunt too, I know you spoke about your friends, but like, do men deal with that a lot in relationships, in like one to another, like two males? Have you experienced men hating on you, but being close to you, so to speak? I don't think so.
I'm trying to like come up with for the most part, no. If anybody personally knows me, I'm pretty laid back. I'm pretty cool. I know a lot of people. I don't put myself in those positions. Well, I can't say that because sometimes you don't have to put yourself in positions.
Yeah, you don't have to.
I tend not to give people too much energy if I do feel like somebody's hating on me or somebody's.
Yeah.
And to me, I'm always like, yo, what are you jealous of me for? Like, you know what I mean?
But that's normally the feeling that the person has.
I always humble myself to that. You're right. And anybody that does feel, it's like, what? But sometimes, let's be real. Sometimes you got stuff. You might be a little mouthy. You might be, and you're letting the world know that, hey, I'm the man. I'm not saying us.
That's
so guess what that's going to do? You're going to attract some jealousy. That's just what it is. Yeah. But and then some days I'm Aries. I have my cocky days. I want to talk. You know what I mean?
I don't know if I'm cocky. I don't know if I have a cocky.
I'm not cocky, but I'm very confident.
Yeah, very. But guess what? You know what confidence breeds. You know, it's
because like, who do I think I am? But it's more so, who do you think I am?
There you go.
I think that's a word of wisdom for the listeners. Like, I think a lot of time jealousy comes from us looking at other people's blessings and not really focusing on our own.
The thief of joy.
Yeah, and I just think that I think comparison is not only the thief of joy, but I think it's the thief of dreams. It's like we are all sent here to do and carry out different things. So I can never be Am, you can never be me, we can never be Aunt. Like,
but we can respect everything each other do.
It's like what we talk about, leaders working with leaders, right? And the respect that comes, the respect that comes with that, of just like knowing that I can sit in a room with you guys and know that in your own lane, you do your thing. There's no traffic, there's no nothing, and there's no competition or no jealousy of that. I'm like, go in, because it's like, yo, I can't be you, and you guys are called to another, you know what I'm saying, sector of the world as I am. And we all, when people listen to this podcast, there's going to be somebody who connects with you. There's going to be somebody that listens to Ant. And when we understand that, and I think the beauty and the power that we all hold, like, I think that jealousy turns into something different where it's like, no, I'm not jealous of that because the world needs that too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
and I try to really esteem people, man, like to show them, like, that's why I'm the yes friend. I'm the that, because I really sometimes I don't even feel like people doing it on purpose. Like, not all, like most times I really don't even feel like jealousy is on purpose. It's just always
emotion.
where
You don't have
We've
to act
normalized it. Like we always say, normal
Yeah.
people. Like I said, I didn't want to mix up jealousy being a natural thing. It's not. It's normalized now.
Yeah.
Like we've accepted it so much.
I think it's.
Like,
I think it
they
is.
jealous.
I
We'll
was
say somebody
about
just
to
walk
say,
off.
Yeah,
Like, oh,
everybody not
no, that's a
jealous
serious
either.
thing. Yeah, that's right. And
Yeah.
everybody's not hating.
Everybody's
Everybody's not
Everybody.
hating.
Who are
Everybody's
those
not.
haters?
Yeah.
Who is
Nobody
that?
ever
Who
knows.
is that?
Like, yo, they gonna
Who
keep
is that?
hating.
But if
Like,
you take care of your insecurities, like you said, the insecurity is the segue to the jealousy. So it's like if you handle the insecurities and it makes you, again, as I've been saying all season for the healing season, you really take a deep look in yourself. So when you feel that feeling, I felt jealous about certain things or certain people. But it was a me thing. It wasn't that person thing. It was my responsibility to go fix those things so I don't feel that. And again, it could be jealousy.
express
Like,
yourself.
how you get there before I did? I mean, you know, seasonally, I've definitely had that feeling before where it's like, you know, I've been working hard over here. How did it work that way? But whatever, for me, it's prayer. It's like, okay, Lord, come on and make haste. What you doing over there? But it's not towards that person. And again, like Aunt said, I think just, you know, you kind of doing something or acting on those things takes it to a whole nother level. I feel like it's levels to jealousy.
Yeah, and it's
Yes,
scary.
yes.
Yeah, it is
I really
definitely
do.
levels.
Definitely
It's
levels.
definitely scary. Because,
Yeah.
like, that's, like I said, like, you have to, like, those people, like, again, it really starts with how you choose people too. And it's not to say that people who are jealous, people who are envious, people who suffer from depression and all of those things don't deserve love, because they
Yeah,
do.
they're not
They
bad
definitely
people.
do. But you have to be careful, especially me right now. I'm in an elevation season. I'm very careful with who is around
you
me.
should be.
I have to be.
But some people are jealous of you that don't know you.
Yeah.
Some people are
Yeah,
jealous.
I had
So
a
it's
guy
hard to
tell
say,
me.
yo, keep
I
your
had a guy.
energy.
I had
don't
a
even know
guy
you.
tell me that I was friends with. He was like, "Yo, I was talking to this girl one day and you randomly came up." He's a friend of mine. He was like, "This girl." He was like, "Yeah, you know that girl who be doing all the juices and she swears she this and she swears she that." I don't even know who
See,
this
your name
person
should
is.
never randomly come up.
Exactly. It
Not like
randomly
that.
came up. He's like, that bothered him so bad. He was like, "You don't even know that girl. You don't know her. Like, she's mad, generous, dope. She probably could help you
crazy.
or
It's
whatever." And
crazy,
he would,
yeah.
and he was so mortified about it. He said, "Yo, like, that made him like sad." He was like, "Yo, I prayed
Right.
for you right after that."
Yeah.
Right.
But you know what I
That's
told you,
crazy.
Am? I said sometimes, and just to let you know, Aunt, sometimes people's jealousy, I think it stems from what they're not doing. So
Yes.
sometimes I always feel like, you know, sometimes the reminder, what should be inspiration can turn into jealousy. It's like, yo, if you were, you know, whether it's a podcast, whether it's a clothing brand, whether it's whatever you're supposed to be doing and you're not doing, when you see other people doing it, it breeds something in you. For me, it's inspiration. It's like, yo, I'm supposed to get on my grind.
If it
I
doesn't breed
haven't done-
inspiration, I don't think there's any other thing but jealousy.
Yeah,
There's not
but
like
I-
could sometimes. No.
Yeah.
If you're not inspired by the moves a person is making and you're in awe, you're following, then it is only
Yeah.
another, and it's jealousy.
And it should be inspiration, but I think that jealousy piece comes from where you are health wise. And I'm sure that girl who probably had no idea who you were, every time she's seeing you or seeing,
That's a
it's like
sickness,
it's
man.
like looking at Aunt. I'm sure
I
that
was sad. I was actually sad about that because I think,
Really?
I was sad not because it hurt my feelings because
'Cause
I
you
don't
wanna
know the
be
person.
inspiring,
But yeah,
yeah.
it made
Exactly.
me look inward. Like, am I inspiring or am
the
I
place you're trying to go. and it's
exactly
yo,
but I know that I'm inspiring because
even though
sometimes
that was one person.
I was just gonna three.
That's three.
Great, because I was just gonna say that. Think about that. If one person out of 10 says that, who cares?
Yeah.
like you
Who
can't
cares?
control that narrative. My job is not to make everybody feel warm.
Yeah.
There are some people will tell you 3 different accounts of what they've experienced from me, and I'm cool with every single one.
Yeah.
So it's not my job to try to make people, and once I got out of that, I learned to have better relationships. Now I feel like I finally arrived when it comes to friendships, when it comes to even my interactions with men. I'm very certain of what it is that I want, what I'm tolerating, what I accept, because guess what? I don't give those type of things. My friends never have. I meet one of my friends' friends. They're not my friends instantly, but they get a warm feeling from me. How are you? Oh my God. Yes. Even if I may not like their vibe and they ain't for me, my friend won't ever know that, because it's not my job to even force their brain into a, you see her in a different light, or you see that person in a different light. Nah, I just want everybody to like respect. That's it. And I always tell my friends that you don't have to be besties, but respect each other, and do not talk about my friends to me. Don't do that. I don't like that.
So what words of wisdom do you have for the listeners?
I would just say, like, you know what I'm saying? Learn to process what it is that you're feeling. Be vocal about that. Sometimes we're not going to openly say, I am jealous, but be expressive into what you acknowledge that, okay, I'm feeling something that makes me uncomfortable, which can be rooted in envy or jealousy. Yeah. And then express to the person that you're having this with, if it's a relationship, let's say, listen, this makes me uncomfortable. You know what I mean? So that you can navigate through those feelings, and maybe instead of just acting out on whoever it is that's making you uncomfortable. or what it is that's making you uncomfortable.
So at the end of the day, communicate.
Absolutely.
Communicate. What about you, Ian?
Next time, if you ever get that feeling of jealousy, like you said, nobody's gonna say it, rare. Yeah. But if you do, check yourself first. Why do I feel this way? Because if you're jealous from somebody on social media or something, most of the time, whatever they're putting up, whatever they're talking about, they could be popping, whatever they're doing. It's not towards you. Yeah. Stop taking everything. So you know what I mean, and change yourself. And I think once that happens, you'll it might turn into what you said, inspiration now. Yeah. It goes from jealousy to inspiration. Exactly. And that's, at the end of the day, we all are inspired. We all look at other things. Absolutely. We all, you know what I mean? Yes. Absolutely. So them same people that's jealous, I'm pretty sure they look at people and they're inspired, but they probably feel like those people aren't reachable. So that's who they start being jealous with. They can't be jealous of Diddy. I don't know Diddy. Yeah. But you jealous of me.
You seen them comments?
I was about to say, you seen them comments?
You're right. Yeah, but still, they're just people trolls. Like that. Leave them alone. It's easier. But the people that you can reach and touch, you'll be jealous of.
Like who they think they are.
Yeah. And I trying to drop the ball earlier when you asked me was the clothing thing. Until I came with the clothing thing, I started noticing, but that's I figured that stuff comes with it.
Yeah, but I think it speaks to even looking at your business. It's less than a year, right?
Yeah, 7 months. 7 months.
Y'all gotta go check out Love Lane.
And the crazy part is, like, I try to do things I don't brag about, because it's nothing to brag about. I'm in my first year. It's a struggle. It's a daily struggle.
I was about to say brag on where you are, and not brag on it, but. You should be excited.
I'm almost scared to do that because
and celebrate it for where you are. In less than a year, you've done a lot.
You know how I do it without saying much? I just put up pictures, and you can just see the support. That's my thing. If you notice, I just put up pictures of people because when I talk, people take me as being arrogant or being, if I start too
you can't control that.
You can't dumb down your success to make
I'm not simmering it down for nobody.
Right. Yeah, you're right.
If you guys have not gone, give them the website.
www.thelovelane.co. Yeah. Instagram @thelovelane.co.
Yeah, so dope. I love both of y'all. I thank you for coming through as always.
We're wrapping it up.
We wrapping it up. It's all right. You coming back in June.
Say that.
You coming back in June. I know, definitely. And we're about to start May, which is mental health. So this mental health is going to be a little bit heavy. We're celebrating women though, every episode. But mental health is going to be deep. We're going to go in a little bit. So I hope the listeners are prepared, but it's something that we don't talk about as much, especially in our community. So I got some good guests coming on.
Yeah. And shout out to the Beef It for Business podcast.
Let's go.
When are you guys launching?
What's the date on that?
Launching on May 31st. It's actually going to be on Memorial Day. Okay. We are launching on Memorial Day. I'm super, super excited about this platform. It's a platform for entrepreneurs. It's where we can share.
Dreamers.
And the dreamers.
I'm excited too. I'm going to be on the back end, y'all, on that one. But Yeah, I can't wait.
So if y'all don't see me, it's because I'm dived down, but you will see me again.
No, she gonna be around.
Yes.
I'm gonna drag her on a couple more times. But I thank y'all.
Love you, Deb.
I love you
Yes,
guys
love you,
too.
Bobby.
Appreciate y'all.
Appreciate
And we'll see you next week.
Jealousy.
Jealousy.